It was a few years back in 2019 that we did something extremely memorable. We took 6 adventure motorcycles to an off-road riding park and did a bunch of tests on them. And in the process, we liked it so much that we decided to do it every other year. But you know how 2020 went, and that kind of rained on our parade.
But we are back with the 2021 edition of the BikeWale Off-Road Day.
But bro, you were not part of the 2019 off-road day. But chalo koi nahi. This year we are going to do something more fun and adventurous.
And how are we going to do that?
So last year we had 4 tests. There was the braking, we were jumping the bike off a log, we had the slalom, and we also walked the bike.
So what different are we doing this time?
So we will be taking all the learnings from the previous iteration and applying it in a more realistic way.
Oh.
So for that, we are here at the Pro Dirt Adventure Park in Kamshed, which is near Pune. And here we have a Gymkhana setup.
Gymkhana? What's a Gymkhana?
Come on, I'll show you.
Yeah, I'm ready. So where's the gym you're talking about?
Kaun sa gym? This is a Gymkhana.
Oh, okay.
Let me explain to you.
Yeah.
So a Gymkhana is a course of obstacles that determines the different abilities of a motorcycle.
Okay.
So it includes jumping the bike off these roller humps.
Wow.
And these huge tires.
Damn, going over these would be scary, no?
These are nothing. Wait until you see the rock garden.
Alright. This is a garden with these rocks.
Yeah, you need to cross this entire section of these big and sharp rocks with a motorcycle.
No, yeah, you got to be kidding.
Acha, okay, don't worry. There's also a fun part in this Gymkhana.
What's that?
Chal, let me show you. So this is the fun part where you jump your motorcycle off these logs.
Okay, so I've understood these obstacles. But Neil, I can see some markings over there. What are those for?
Oh, that? That's the garage where everything comes together.
Oh.
Your skills and the motorcycle's abilities.
Oh, that reminds me. What motorcycles do we have in this year's lineup?
Now that's an interesting question. Come, let's check it out. Unlike our BikeWale track days, we like to keep our BikeWale off-road days uncomplicated and raw. So we have adventure motorcycles from different price points and displacements. And for this edition of the BikeWale off-road day, we have 5 players. Let's start off with the Hero Xpulse 200, the smallest and most affordable ADV not only in India but also in our lineup. It comes with equipment that make it off-road ready, like the spoke wheels, high-set mudguard, engine subguard and a high-mounted exhaust. Well, we had it for our last off-road day too, but this one is different. The 199cc oil-cooled motor now has 4 valves, which translate to a better mid and top end.
The next one comes from the German brand BMW and carries the iconic GS nameplate in a small 310cc package. We have had the BMW G310GS in our previous off-road day, but in its latest avatar, it gets a few mechanical changes and a lower price tag. Now, with components like 19 and 17-inch alloy wheels, the G310GS isn't an outright trail attacker, but the new model gets slightly revised suspension tuning, which should make a difference this time.
Competing with the G310GS is the KTM 390 Adventure. Just like the GS, this one also rides on alloy wheels and is road biased for the most part. During our first rides, we found the 390 ADV to be a little difficult to tame off the road. But with more time on our hands to test it, will it change our mind?
This bike doesn't need much introduction. The Royal Enfield Himalayan is one of the most accessible ADVs in India, and unlike the KTM or the BMW, it is more focused on off-roading with large 21 and 18-inch spoke wheels, long travel suspension and decent ground clearance. Looking at the hurdles we have, it should perform well here.
Last but definitely not the least, the BMW R1250GS. This one is quite special given the fact that it has been the world's best-selling big adventure motorcycle for a long time. In this lineup, it has got the largest displacement engine, high-end cycle parts, and it also is the most technologically advanced. But then the proof of the pudding is in eating it, isn't it? Let's get rolling. But since Anuj and me are here talking to you, Prateek will be our expert riding all the motorcycles through all the tests. If you guys have seen his Instagram page, you'd know he eats healthy and seems to work out most of the time. Well, he tells us it's to remain fit and build a strong core to ride better off the road. And we couldn't agree more. That said, one rider executing all the Gymkhana tests will also bring consistency to the timings that we will be recording for each bike as Prateek rides through the course. So the Xpulse is supposed to be a beginner's ADV, right? So did it ride the same way around the Gymkhana course?
Oh, it definitely did. I mean, because the motorcycle is lightweight, right? Then you have the 21-inch wheel. I mean, the combination of these two, it works really well. The thing with our tight, compact Gymkhana course is that you have to keep changing a lot of directions, right? We have 7 different lanes. We have so many obstacles. So you need a motorcycle. We have wanted a motorcycle that can do that with ease, and the Xpulse performed really well.
Okay, so what about its throttle and clutch controls? How did that feel?
That's one thing I was not really happy about. Throttle in the first gear, right? Obviously, you can't really ride the Xpulse 4V off-road in first gear. It's just too jerky, and there's literally no torque. You have to go to second gear, and that's where the throttle response becomes a little smoother and crisper, and then you can do all the obstacles with a decent comfort.
Okay. What were the things that you do not actually like about the Xpulse?
Honestly, one major thing I didn't like about the Xpulse is the standing up riding triangle. The foot pegs are mounted higher. The handle position is, you have to. It's not really on the higher side. You have to bend a lot, and that means you're not really enjoying. You don't have space to hold the motorcycle, and you are literally pulling the handlebar towards you, and you can't be doing that when you're doing off-road track. So that's the only major thing I was not really happy about the Xpulse.
Okay. So I remember you telling us that you do not have very high expectations with the G310GS. So after you completed the Gymkhana course,
Yeah.
did that view change?
To be honest, not really. I mean, the bike looks fantastic. It has the GS branding. What I really liked about this motorcycle is this engine right here. It has so much torque at the low end, be it first gear or second gear. It's really good for anything to do off-road or doing some kind of Gymkhana course.
Yeah.
But then are certain things like this bike doesn't feel like an adventure or like an enduro motorcycle. It doesn't have a lot of mass at the front, and the overall standing of ergonomics is for a tall guy like me, it's quite bad. I'm sure the shorter guys might find it comfortable, but if you give me an option to take this bike on enduro rides or trail rides, I don't think so. I might I take this. But overall, the engine, I just love the way the engine. And the other thing I really liked about this model is the suspension setup.
Okay.
Very good, very good.
Okay. So except for the standing up ergonomics, was there anything else that you did not like about the motorcycle?
So the idea of enduro is like you have to stand up and ride, right? And if you're not comfortable, you're not going to enjoy the entire course.
True.
So for me, that is a deal breaker.
Okay, well, so was there any part in the Gymkhana that you were comfortable with on the GS?
When I was in neutral gear, but just kidding. I was actually most comfortable when I was going through the rock garden. Again,
Okay.
that's because of the brilliant suspension setup. It's just,
Okay.
you don't feel the way the suspension compresses, the way it rebounds. It just works really well for the rock garden which we had
Yeah.
in this course.
That's one of the trickiest parts of the Gymkhana.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Pratik, the KTM 390 Adventure and this one in particular looks beautiful with the Martini graphics and all. But apart from that, when you are riding through the Gymkhana course, you look very fast, you look confident. Was that the same case with you mentally also? Like, did you think this was faster than other bikes?
Okay, I'm going to start with a confession. I've never ridden a 390 Adventure off-road. This is the first time in the BikeWale Off-Road. I rode it for the first time. I've rode it for the first time, and honestly, I really enjoy. I didn't really think this will be so good off-road, but yeah, I think you're right. I also felt mentally that I was quite fast on the 390 Adventure.
But a lot of people crib about the lack of low-end torque this bike has. Was that such a big issue here also?
Two things. Firstly, yes, and this is no as well. At certain obstacles, I really found it to be fine. I mean, the first gear you can do it, but at certain, when I put it in second gear, where I was playing with most of the motorcycles, I stalled once or twice. That clearly suggests that you definitely need some kind of low-end torque.
Yeah.
But overall, in terms of if I had the option of telling you with 390 Adventure, I really think this motorcycle needed a little bit of low-end torque. Otherwise, I think 60-70% of the off-road, the kind of terrains we have in India, this will do it.
Okay. And like a typical KTM, the throttle must be a little choppy. Was that an issue?
Yeah.
That was
Initially,
an issue,
yeah.
right?
Then it's just about getting adjusted to the motorcycle. That's all.
Yeah, after doing a few laps, you get adjusted, right? And what about the ground clearance? Did you ever hit the underbelly anywhere? Did really
Surprisingly,
hit
no.
hard
I'm
or
actually
such?
thinking that we have a couple of big drums The sum guard might hit those drums, the big ones, but luckily it didn't. Yeah, I was very impressed with the way the 390 performed.
So maybe the suspension soaks up everything really well.
Yeah.
All right. So that was about the KTM 390 adventure.
So Pratik, during the Gymkhana course, you looked extremely comfortable on the Himalayan. So tell me, what did you like so much about the bike? What made you feel so comfortable? And yeah, you even looked fast. So what was it all about?
I think the main reasons you're feeling that is because, and I think you're in a way right, the main reason is the standing up ergonomics. I just find it perfect out of all the motorcycles we have. Like, I don't have to do any kind of adjustments, right, in terms of putting any kind of, risers or things like that, because you don't have to do a lot of changes when you come from road to off-road.
Okay.
One of the reasons I found it to be really good on this track is because of those ergonomics, and second is obviously engine. Lots of torque at the low end, first gear, second gear, and I did the entire course in second gear and just worked really well in this course.
So it seems like you liked almost everything about the bike that it could do off-road. So what was it that you didn't like completely?
Honestly, I really like this motorcycle off-road, yes. I just wish the overall curvature of the motorcycle was slightly on the lesser side, because then the kind of power to weight ratio this motorcycle would have, I think this bike would be so much more capable to perform off-road. I just wish it was slightly on the lighter side.
So it's just the one thing that you would change.
Otherwise, this is a perfect package for off-road riding, and
oh, okay.
Very impressive.
All right.
It's time for the big daddy now.
I don't know how it's going to go, because it's big, it's heavy,
big, heavy.
And this is a considerably tight course, right?
Talking about the engine with such a big displacement, with so much power and torque, usually what happens is throttle is very sensitive of motorcycles.
Correct.
Was that an issue with this bike, that the throttle is sensitive, you had to really modulate it?
So obviously, I don't ride the R1250GS on an everyday basis, right? I get to ride it maybe once or twice a year on events like this.
Yeah.
So at first, obviously, it took me some time to get used to the motorcycle, right? But once I got used to it, the throttle response, throttle control, the clutch movement, the weight is the clutch feel. It feels fantastic. I mean, obviously, lots of torque
Yeah.
on this motorcycle. So you have to be very careful with the way you open
Correct.
the throttle, the way you close it, right? But after you get used to the bike, this I love the way this motorcycle performed on this ride when it comes to the overall performance.
All right. And we also know that this bike has one of the most advanced suspension setup,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
telelever setup.
Yeah.
And how did that fare here in the Gymkhana?
I've always been a big fan of that system, and today was the first time I actually rode it really hard.
Okay.
Through rock garden, through jumps, through log jumps.
Yeah.
We also had a couple of going over the barrel drums,
The barrel
right?
drums, yeah.
Just loved the way this motorcycle performed. I mean,
And that
it's
stone section was very tricky. You know?
yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
it performed
honestly,
really well there also.
I knew this I had a few rides on this motorcycle and I knew how the suspension performed. So with other motorcycles, I was like a little skeptical. Should I sit and go on it? But I'm like, I know, trust the suspension system, trust the motorcycle. The first go, it was done.
It just went
It
over.
just went.
Okay. And so at BikeWale, we very well know that this is your favorite motorcycle and you want to own it someday.
Yeah.
But here, did it really live up to your expectations?
Honestly, not really, because like I said in the beginning, this motorcycle is perfect for a trail or track which is longer. You don't have back-to-back obstacles. You don't have to move around a lot. Especially, you don't have to do a lot of U-turns.
Correct.
For those kind of courses, Gymkhana courses, this bike will do brilliantly. Unfortunately, we had a very tight course, right? It worked for the bikes, but for the R1250GS, the size, the proportion, even with the low CG, I mean, we know it's good for ADV motorcycle, but it's just that you still feel the weight. And then the standing up ergonomics, for someone like me, I'm 6'2", the handlebar position is slightly, obviously I have the
Towards
option
you.
of adjusting it, but because we have kept all the motorcycles in stock setting, it gets a little difficult to use it. And then when you have again combined that with back-to-back turns, going over various obstacles. I love this bike. Obviously, I want to own it, but unfortunately, R1250GS, I didn't really enjoy the way I really wanted.
So maybe this was not the best place to enjoy it. You need to exploit it more and you need to ride it more.
R1250GS have a big ground, have a big setup, be it on the jungle trails, hardcore jungle trails and things like that. This bike will perform excellent. I can assure you that. It's just that for tight courses, for tight Gymkhana courses like we had for BikeWale Off-Road Day, R1250GS is a little difficult and little, at the end of the ride, you will feel the fatigue.
Okay. All right.
So now that we know your experience around the course, let me ask you your list of the fastest bike around the course.
Fastest bikes, I think the first one will definitely be the KTM 390 Adventure. I think that was the fastest. I felt that. Second, the BMW R1250GS, followed by the Enfield Himalayan. And the fourth was the Hero Xpulse, and the fifth was BMW G310GS. I think these are the top five for me.
Okay, well, we have the actual numbers.
Okay.
And the bike that did the course fastest was the Royal Enfield Himalayan.
Kya baat kar?
I know,
Seriously?
right? Yeah.
Okay.
And,
I wasn't expecting that, to be honest.
Do you want to know the bike that did it the second fastest?
Second, yes please.
Okay, do you want to guess?
BMW R1250GS. I mean, that was my guess.
It was the Hero Xpulse.
What? What?
I know, right? Surprising.
Oh God.
And
Okay.
on third place is the KTM 390 Adventure. Then, okay, do you want to guess the fourth bike?
Oh God. It obviously has to be a BMW.
Yeah, which one?
It has to be the R1250GS.
Oh, well, you are right. And, well, the 310GS did its best, but it is at 5th place at our 2021 BikeWale Off-Road.
Okay, it's very, very surprising, to be honest.
Yes, it was. Now that we have the list of the fastest bikes at the 2021 BikeWale Off-Road Day, here are the timings that will be flashed on your screen right now.
So Neil, do you really think this was more fun and adventurous as compared to the previous edition as we had thought it would be?
Yes, definitely. Even though the Himalayan was the fastest around the Gymkhana, all the other bikes were pretty capable and did their best in their own way.
Yeah, that's true. And I believe, the whole point of adventure riding is to have a lot of fun and thrill. And for that, you don't necessarily need a Gymkhana setup like this. You can just take your ADV out and explore uncharted territories.
Absolutely. And that's a wrap for the 2021 BikeWale Off-Road Day. I hope you liked the video. Let us know in the comments below.
And we'll be back with the 2022 edition of the BikeWale Off-Road Day. Until then, you know what to do, right? Like and share this video and subscribe to our channel and hit on the bell icon.